Yo, what's up guys? You got PokeaimMD here with another competitive Pokemon Sun and Moon Moveset video guide analysis, whatever you want to call it. This time I'm going to be talking about Zygarde 50%. While it's not necessarily a new Pokemon that came with Sun and Moon, I felt like it was necessary to talk about. I talked about Zygarde 10% already. I talked about Zygarde Complete. And Zygarde did get some new toys that are pretty key. And that's why I felt like talking about it. Anyway, after I finish all the Sun and Moon Pokemon, which we're coming close, should be done in about, what, 2-3 weeks, I believe. And then maybe I'll start working on some Little Cup stuff, and I'll start working on... what I plan on working on after that is moveset videos for buff Pokemon. So expect Pokemon like Bidoof, Dodrio, and whatnot to be worked on, just to name a few. PK was actually telling me, oh man, you should do every single Pokemon. I was like, holy crap, bro, that would be like 2 years of content. But we'll see how I feel about that. I might just do it, just to do it. Especially because I feel like people can learn stuff better when it's said to them rather than reading. Because a lot of stuff I'm saying, eventually you'll find it on Smogon, or at least some sets on Smogon. But I think it's easier, some people might learn better orally than they would visually. So hearing it versus just reading it on a page. In any case, if you guys missed any of my previous moveset videos or guides, there is a playlist down below. I encourage you to check that out. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitch and Twitter. Those links are down below. Now, Zygarde has some pretty, all-around decent stats. Base 108 HP, so pretty fat. Base 100 attack is, above average, average at best. Base 121 defense is its highest stat. Really decent defense, and then base 95 special defense and base 95 speed. So all around pretty solid stats. Just nothing that pushes it over the edge. But in this generation, it did get two key moves: 1,000 Arrows, which allows you to hit flying types with your ground move, and 1,000 Waves, which allows you to trap your opponent. 1,000 Arrows is actually a lot more relevant, I believe, than 1,000 Waves, but 1,000 Waves does have its use, and I'll be talking about that as we keep going in the video. But the first set we have is a more offensive take on Zygarde. Typically when you think of Zygarde, you think of Subcoil. In Oras, you would probably think about Subcoil, Dragon Tail, Earthquake. Dragon Tail, of course, would allow you to phase out Pokemon such as Skarmory before they can roar you out and beat them 1v1 to an extent. But in this generation, when you have 1,000 Arrows, you really don't need that, because you can touch Skarmory with your ground attack. The first one will smack it down, the second one will hit it with a super effective ground type attack. So this is a more offensive take to Zygarde. It's a jolly max speed, max attack, Dragon Dance set with a Lumberry. Now the Lumberry allows you to set up versus Pokemon such as Rotom, which will otherwise burn you with Will-O-Wisp. You don't have to worry about Toxic. Obviously you can't be Thunder Wave. But the idea of this set is to be a more offensive take to Zygarde. You run max speed, Jolly, because that allows you to outspeed Pokemon such as Excadrill, such as Lanner's Therian form. I'm talking about Scarf variants. It also allows you to speed tie with Timid, max speed Kartana, or Kartana, excuse me, no. No, you don't speed tie with that. That thing is faster. It allows you to speed tie with Timid, max speed, top with Lele. I don't know why I mixed those up. And knock it out with a +1 Iron Tail. Timid, max speed, Jolly, of course. Timid, why did I say Timid, max speed? Choice Scarf, excuse me. Just mixing up my stuff right now. But if it is modest, obviously you do outspeed it. And at +1, you have the potential to speed tie with a Scarf set. And the set is 1,000 Arrows. That's the only real stab you need. You don't actually need Outrage in this generation, just because +1,000 Arrows is doing a ton of dragons anyway. You have Extreme Speed, which is your priority. That helps you a lot versus offense. The +1 Extreme Speed can pick off Pheromosa after rocks. And then Iron Tail allows you to deal with Fairy types, such as Tapu Bulu, such as Clefable, just hitting them for a ton of damage at +1. And with your natural bulk, you're actually not going down to like a Horn Leech from Tapu Bulu. You're not going down to a Moonblast from Clefable. So this is a more offensive take to it. Obviously the Lumberry, like I said, this lets you set up on Pokemon such as Rotom because it cannot burn you. Do your Lumberry, obviously. And it is, again, a more offensive take to Zygarde than what you're probably used to. Outrage, again, is not really too necessary. I feel you can put it on the set, but I'm not too big of a fan when there's so many. The Taplers are running around, they're all part Fairy type, and there's some great Steel types like Celesteela running around. I'm not a huge fan of locking yourself into a Dragon type attack when all those mons are present, but it's definitely an option. Now the next set is a Coil Extreme Speed set. Again, this is a Subcoil Extreme Speed set with 1,000 Arrows and Extreme Speed. Shout out to my boy Flame Victini, by the way. He went over a lot of these sets with me. A lot of them I've used, and he helped me make EV spreads that I felt were solid for the mons. and then I tested them out, maybe adjusted thing here to there, but this is a sub-coil set, which is again still a more offensive take. You have 176 attack, and again, this lets you knock out Pheromosa after rocks with a +1 machine speed. So with attack investment, you're more of a threat versus offense. And the 240 HP is a jump point. It's a leftovers number. The idea of this set is to set up on Pokemon such as Celesteela, which can't break your sub with Heavy Slam. You can't Leech Seed on you. You can just sub and start coiling up. And again, Extreme Speed allows you to be more of a threat versus offense. You're doing more damage versus offense the more attack investment you have. So the speed is just enough for base 70s at neutral. So add in Breloom, add in Bisharp, you do outspeed those Pokemon. And you can sub up on either a Spore or dodge, Sucker Punch, or whatnot. But this is a more offensive take, again, to the sub-coil set. Well, I've seen people run Spadef, which let them take on Pokemon such as Venusaur, Pokemon just weaker special attackers. This is again a more offensive variant to the set. Because like I said, the more attack investment you have, the more of a threat you are to offense. So offense has like what? Pheromosa, Greninja, Tapu Koko. Yeah, but with hazards up, spikes, you're threatening them with your priority extreme speed, whereas if you didn't have your attack investment at all, you're doing like 50% at +1. So now you're doing a bit more damage, and it allows you to break through Pokemon such as Toxapex easier without really boosting up, since you could 2-hit KO them with 1,000 arrows off the rocks. And sub just allows you to again dodge Status, Toxic, Will-O-Wisp coming at Zygarde. So a more offensive take to it than typically, but you can run like a Spadef coil set, definitely. Next up we have Coil Toxic, and this is more of a Spadef coil set. It's sub-coil with Toxic over Extreme Speed. Now, the attack investment allows you to knock out Toxapex with +1 into a neutral 1,000 arrows. So you hit them with your +1, they go for Haze, but then you knock them out with your 1,000 arrows, so that's why you have 44 attack. Again, a leftovers number is hit with 240, and then 136 Spadef plus 64 speed. 64 speed still allows you to outspeed those, you can run 68 as well, but it still allows you to outspeed those neutral base 70s. And Toxic is a really cool option because Pokemon such as grass types, such as Tabubulu might want to come out because they do resist your 1,000 arrows. And just even Pokemon in general, Celebi, anything that can tank 1,000 arrows that is not a steel type, basically, you might want to come out. And Toxic allows you to wear them down, especially with sub. As you're coiling up, it becomes harder for physical attackers to break your sub, and because you do have some Spadef, you're tanking special hits anyway. Pokemon like Venusaur have a tough time breaking your sub, or have a tough time doing actual damage to you. And again, the attack investment is just there so you can 2-hit KO Toxapex. But this is a really solid set, I believe. Subbing up and then running with Toxic, it racks up, especially as you're boosting your defense and your attack at the same time, becoming increasingly harder for your opponent to start breaking your sub. This set can be used to wear down Pokemon such as Decidueye, who rely on, you know, Leaf Blade and whatnot, Spirit Shackle to break your sub. You can Toxic them, you are faster than them, you can start coiling up. Toxic is also nice for wearing down Pokemon such as Landorus, Therian Form, and Hippowdon, and as well as Garchomp, all of which can take your 1,000 arrows, but after you start coiling up, they cannot break your sub unless they're boosting alongside you. Hippowdon has to phase you out, if anything, but Toxicing it wears it down for either Zygarde itself or for teammates. So it's a really cool alternative to Extreme Speed and a more defensive set, and it just allows you to wear down Pokemon that it would normally be a little bit harder for you to beat just at first, but after you wear them down with Toxic, you can beat them down. So next up we have the 1,000 Waves set. 1,000 Waves, really cool move. It prevents your opponent from switching. So the idea of this set is to use Zygarde as a trapper, and it's kind of like using block Bulk Up Mons or block Curse Snorlax, though you might not have heard of that. Sets like that do exist. So the idea of this set is to use 1,000 Waves. 1,000 Waves can trap your opponent, whether it be Celesteela who wants to Leech Seed on you or anything like that. You 1,000 Waves if they stay in, you punish them for staying in because you can coil up all the way to +6, boosting your attack, your defense, and your accuracy, which that doesn't really matter because you're not going to miss. And then you rest up. And again, the idea of this set is use it when your opponent has no Pokemon that can OHKO you, so make sure they don't have like an Ash Greninja or anything like that. The speed, outspeeds Landers, outspeeds Rotom. Rest allows you to set up on fatter mons as well, such as toxic mons, maybe like Blissey. You can even set up on Toxapex. Yeah, it can haze you out, but you can stall it out just resting because you don't go for attacks for 2 turns and they're stuck there. And I mean, you have 2 solid moves to hit Toxapex anyway, so it's not really going to be stalling you out. And resting up, that's 2 turns every single time of just doing nothing. So the idea of this set is, again, to trap your opponent and set up on them, boost up alongside them, max special defense, a leftovers number, and then just 16 speed. The rest was just put into speed with a careful nature. And I really, really like this set. This is actually the set I want to showcase, but I don't think I'll be showcasing this one today. I'll be using it in a later live, though. Definitely a very solid set on Zygarde, just being able to trap your opponent and setting up on them. And even if you're not using it to sweep after that, but just even to get rid of a Pokemon, like let's say the object or the objection of the set, or my point of the set was to trap Celesteela and beat it down 1v1. I did it. Now I have a Pokemon like Mega Scizor in the back who can SD up and sweep my opponent's team because they don't have their Flamethrower Celesteela around. So just a really cool set that definitely supports the teammates. And now it does have other options. Glare is a cool option that does have paralyzes your opponent and obviously hits 100% of the time. Outrage, I talked about it. I'm not really too big of a fan of Outrage, but it can definitely run Outrage on the DD set. Dragon Tail is also an option that phases your opponent out, but you don't really need that too much when there's nothing you're phasing out that you can't deal with. You're not phasing out fairy types, and you're not phasing out Skarmory anymore because you have 1,000 arrows to hit that thing, so that doesn't matter. Normally Z block, so Z block can block your opponent, prevent them from switching, but also boost your defenses. Pretty cool option, though I think 1,000 Waves plus Coil does it better, but again, it is another option. Other options include like Sludge Wave to a KO Pokemon such as Tapu Bulu, Super Power, but that's not generally too good. And outside of that, I think Zygarde, you don't really want to run special attack. Yeah, it does have base 81, which isn't the worst special attacking slot, but I don't really think you want that. What you want to use Zygarde for is 1,000 arrows. 1,000 arrows. This one is a bulkier one that sets up. So a few teammates we have. Skarmory is a very, very, very solid teammate as it pairs well with the Coil Extreme Speed set. Again, it's a more offensive set, so spikes, stacking up against your opponent, picking them off with Extreme Speed also works very well with the Coil Toxic set, wearing down your opponent. Toxapex, again, working well with any of the Coil sets because getting up Toxic Spikes and wearing down your opponent, as well as Zygarde being immune to the electric attacks being thrown at Toxapex, as well as being able to take, just the grounded attacks at Toxapex anyway. They pair very well together. Magearna, a solid mon that forces switches with Volt Switch and also takes on Pokemon such as Ash Greninja if they have Ice Beam that Toxapex doesn't want to deal with. Fairy types such as Tapu Lele that Toxapex, not Toxapex, that Zygarde, well, Toxapex also does well with that too, but that Zygarde doesn't want to deal with, and weakening Pokemon such as Greninja or threatening them out, making them take life orb hits if they are life orb with their specs. It's fine, still tank the hits, and just Volt Switching on out of there and taking on Tapu Lele and whatnot. And Tapu Koko is also a very, very solid partner with Zygarde because it forces out Pokemon such as Tapu Fini and weakens them, whereas Zygarde does take on the ground types that Tapu Koko doesn't really want to deal with. Though Tapu Koko obviously does have a moveset where HP Ice Grass and whatnot can deal with them. But Tapu Koko weakens Pokemon such as Tapu Fini or threatens them out, allowing Zygarde easier setup. And Zygarde can take the grounded attacks at it. It doesn't resist grounded attacks, but just has the natural bulk to be able to take them, launch the Tapu Koko. And Tapu Koko just wears down everything, scares everything out. Scares out Greninja, scares out pretty much anything that threatens Zygarde, and has U-turn with Magearna to have the Volt Turn combo going on into Zygarde, and abuses hazards as well alongside Zygarde. But in any case, guys, thank you everybody for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed or learned something. Feel free, of course, to leave a like, subscribe if you did, and I'll see you guys later today with the Zygarde showcase. So, goodbye, friends.